Good afternoon to everybody at Ponds Forge Leisure Centre. We're now just within the first 5 minutes of the match here between the Australia under-24 men and the Turkish under-24 men team, and we can see that Turkey are 1-0 up presently. Turkey have been unbeaten so far in the tournament, so good to see that they're off to a strong start. We've got a referee, we've got a team timeout at the moment for Australia with 30 seconds remaining. So we're getting ready here to line up for the strike for the Australian team. That's a good flick, however, straight back to the Turkey team, who are looking to drive this one through the middle. However, it's been intercepted by Australia, who are... Oh, it's been called by the ref once again. That's a Turkey free puck. So play resets just into the Australian half. Players down on the bottom, they're using a wall there. Running off to the left-hand side of the pitch. Good power through, trying to chip over the Australian bat, however didn't manage to. Australia intercepted it. Turkey now trying to sweep it probably back across into the middle, flicks under the body, finds the Turkish player. Australia do some stout defending, and they're going to be able to get this one out to the corner. So good spell of defending there by Australia. That looked promising in the middle of the pool, but Turkey weren't able to convert that good chance. Australia looking to reset this one and go up the left-hand wall. They've got good backup here. We've got to watch for the Turkey player behind him, the number 5. Turkey now again trying to get it into the middle of the pool. This is going to be a scramble, but Turkey are going to get this one into the tin. It was a good piece of defending by Australia, but unfortunately Turkey were in the end too strong in numbers for them. So they get the second goal. And that's their number 12 player, Hakan Sogoflu, scoring for them. So once again we go off for the strike. Turkey get to the puck first, give it a long flick, but it's intercepted by the Australians, who are trying to take this up the left hand side, but Turkey are back on the puck. Australia get possession back. Once again though, Turkey are going to fly down the big long flick, but it's been called by the referee. Play stops. So it's free puck against Turkey here. So Australia getting a chance to go on the attack. It's been intercepted by Turkey, but Australia retaliate, get back in numbers. They get down on the right hand side, but Turkey take a big flick of the puck there, and he's trying to swim, flick and chase. Unfortunately didn't manage to execute the manoeuvre. Australia intercepted it well. So Australia in the middle trying to find another option to pass to another player, but Turkey had 2 players down. And we've had the play stopped once again for an Australian free puck. So that's going to again give Australia a chance here to get on the score on the board. And we've got a Turkish player also being sent out to the side, so it's 6v5 here. Long pass in, which is near the goal line. Australia trying to sweep this in, and it's gone in the tin. Australia making good use of the fact that they had 6 against Turkey's 5. Great free puck from the Australians, so they get goal back. So it's now 2-1 to Turkey. Hunter Jones there with the goal. So Good spell there from Australians. 2 free pucks, well executed, putting the Turkish team under pressure, and they still get an opportunity here with 22 seconds before the Turkish player gets back in. So off for the strike once again. Big long flick from the Turkish team. They've definitely showed their prowess throughout this tournament. They've got some excellent flicks. Australia, however, not giving them any easy passage. It's been called by the referee. So this one looks like it's going to be free puck to Turkey. And it's going to be inside danger area for Australia. Turkey are back up to 6 now. It's on the left hand side of the court. And we can see good squabble here. Turkey trying to make sure they've got men ready to receive a pass into the middle so they can try and get it into the tin. And in the end, they were once again too strong for Australia. Good goal by the Turkish. So that's 3-1 to Turkey. Just waiting for confirmation of the goal scorer. So another goal for Hakan Sofuglu. So we've got 4 minutes left of the first half. Quick substitution there by the Australians just as the strike was called. So again, another huge flick over several of the Australian bats. Australia now trying to make sure they can clear this one out to the side. And it's a good swim up the right hand side by Australia. Turkey intercept it, and it's going to be good piece of play there by Turkey. Broke through the Australian defence, and now they're here in numbers trying to swim it in. Just checking with the referee's decision. So they've got a referee's timeout. It looked like there was possibly a call just before the puck reached the tin by the Turkish player. So the referees now need to decide what the course of action is going to be. So we have a referee's timeout so they can reach consensus and then make the call. Got a team of 3 underwater referees so that you can ensure that you've got good visibility throughout the pool. And it looks like we're going to have a player sent into the sin bin from the Australian team, and one
sportsmanlike conduct for Turkey, number 9.
So it's sportsmanlike conduct for Turkey, in fact. So my apologies. Turkish number 9 is now on the side. It's an Australian free puck. So in fact it's their number 13 that's been sent into the sin bin for 2 minutes. So this is a good chance here for Australia. But at the moment the play remains with Turkey as it's another drive into the Australian half. Again, they've got a player waiting to receive the pass. This has proven to be dangerous in the past because Turkey have such a good flick that once they get within any distance of the goal, it becomes dangerous because they can just flick it straight into the tin. But this time round there's some stout defending by Australia, holding it into the corner. Australia making sure they've got the players down guarding that back wall, because the last thing they want is for the puck to go straight down that back wall and into the tin. They want to make Turkey swim this all the way round. Turkey is still waiting to see if they can feed it back out and get a long pass into another player. This is good use of defending by the Australians, making sure they get players into the corner and then recycling back into the middle of the pool. And it's proven successful so far. This has been a good spell of defence by Australia. They now must be on their 3rd or 4th phase of defence. Turkey just keep on mounting up the pressure. Australia keep trying to send it back into the corner, but the referees have stopped the play. And it's a free puck to Turkey. So we've got a couple of minutes left here of the first half, and Turkey have had this sustained spell with only 5 players in the water, but that's going to change very shortly. So Australia line up, and in fact we've got a timeout here for the Turkish team. So that's a really good spell of defence by Australia. They need to keep up that sort of work because Turkey are definitely a very strong team in attack. There's only 9 seconds remaining before the Turkish number 13 can re-enter the water. But so far Turkey have managed to restrict the damage to the fact that they've only got 5 players in the water because they've been on the attack for the best part of this 2 minutes. The question is whether with the 6th player in the water they can now get the opportunity to convert another goal, especially this close to the Australian tin where it's been penned in for the past nearly a minute and a half. So play restarts. Turkey go for big flick. They've got it into the middle of the pool. They're trying to find the option to give it to the Turkish player. We've got a bit of a melee going on, but the referees have called it once again. So refs have stopped the play. And it's another Turkish free puck. Although presently we've got another Turkish player out, so even though they're on the attack, there's now 4 v6. It's still dangerous though. Turkey have demonstrated time and again the fact that they've got such long flicks that they can, if they can get it beyond the Australian attackers, they still stand a good chance. So they're looking for the option. They're trying to send it over to the side this time round. Australia intercept it. Once again, play has been stopped. This time it's an Australian free puck, so this has been a sustained spell by the Turkish, but they haven't been able to convert this. Australia shown real strength and resilience here in defence. It's been excellent work by the Australians. Now they get the reward. They can try and get this one into the Turkish half. Big long flick. That's a great pass. Been received well by their number 1. But Turkey once again get on the end of the stick. Australia now trying to get the puck, but Turkey have intercepted it. So this is turning into a battle royale in the middle of the pool. Nobody wants to give any quarter here, but here's an opportunity for Turkey. It's going to be a big long pass, but the play has been called for barging. And this time Australian free puck. So we know that Turkey are a very physical team, so with a lot of work going on in the middle of the pool there. In the end, Australia come out the benefactors of this. Good pass off to the right hand side. The Australians been executing some great passes from their free pucks. They're now on the right hand wall, and good spell play there by both teams. Turkey going hard in attack, even with only 4 or 5 players in the water, but Australia stoutly defended it. So at the end of the first half, it's Turkey 3, Australia 1. So 30 seconds left to go, and play is going to start in the second half here with Turkey down to 5. Looks like this one was a big send out for the Turkish number 6. We'll double check this. We'll double check this once the play restarts. But that's quite a long spell. The Turkish might have to play with 5 here, but they are 3-1 up. Australia proving excellent defenders in the first half. So Turkey already trying to force this one through on the left hand side. They've been good at receiving and intercepting Australia's attempts to swim this to the opposite side of the pool, but on this occasion Australia had possession. There's a bit of a battle going on this right hand wall. Turkey trying to ensure that they can intercept those Australian passes but send it back up the wall. Turkey again trying hard to make sure that they don't succeed, but Australia are still in play. Good pass back. Now they've got to find an option here. They're swimming hard over to the other side of the pool. Turkey stopping the Australian progress momentarily. Again, Australia were unlucky there not to get the puck back onto their own stick, but they're going up the right hand wall looking for the options. They can see 3 Turkish players, which was a good flick, rebounded off the barrier there. Turkey once again in possession. That was bounced off the Australian mask, that flick by the Turkish player, but play continues. So Turkey now over to the right hand side of the pool. There's 1-on-1. He's beaten the first Australian defender, but Australia once again get back down to the pool. Turkey intercept it. This is again some stout defending by the Australians. Play has been stopped. So I think that was a stick infringement there. So this is an Australian free puck. We've seen some good play from Australia, switching it to the other side of the pool to get out of the danger of the Turkish players. Going to see which way this free puck lands. So they're trying to go straight over to the middle. Puck flies into the air. The Turkish player hits it down with the bat, but Australia now on the defence. 2 Turkish players hemming in the Australian player. This is a good spell by the Turkish. They're still down to 5, remember, so if the Australians can get on an attack, that could prove useful, but the play has been stopped here. It's Australian, so that was barging by the Turkish, trying to force their way through, but the referees have spotted it, called an Australian free puck. And plays taken. There's a big squabble going on here, lots of bodies down on the bottom of the water. Again, there's a bit of a war of attrition going on. Australia trying to ensure that they maintain possession. It's currently gone back onto the Australian stick. This is good. Unfortunately, Turkey are reading this very well. They sit on the other side of the Australian player. Just when he thinks he's able to turn, he's able to steal possession back. The puck's pinged across the bottom of the pool there. Turkey looking to get back on the attack down this right hand wall. Again, they've got a player trying to ensure that Australia can't take this out in a different direction. Play's been stopped. So I think that's barging there by the Australians this time. I think it's so we've got a free puck, but it's also now a timeout for the Australian team. So we're 4 minutes into the second half here. No further scores, but both teams are back up to 6. Turkey still leading from the first half with 3-1. Be interesting to see what the Australians plan to do now, having had nearly 20 minutes of play against the Turkish. They obviously want to be able to. They're doing well with the swimming, However, when they come up in numbers against the Turkish, sometimes it breaks down and Turkey can force their way through. But certainly the Australian defence has proven to be extremely capable of withstanding sustained attacks here from the Turkish. So it's a Turkish free puck, just really on the centre line of the pool, but it's launched straight into the Australian half. Australia now finding the corner of the pool, trying to ensure that Turkey don't get to execute a big flick across, making sure they protect the goal. So good recycling by the Australians. The play has been stopped. That was barging this time round by the Australians, who are trying to force their way out of the corner. So Turkey get a free puck here. And we know that the Turkish players do have, as I say, long flicks. So they drive forward a huge flick there, but it's gone onto an Australian bat who sweeps it out into the corner. And play's been stopped. It's barging again, this time from the Turkish team. So we're now resetting the play with an Australian free puck to get it out of their defence on the left hand side. So Australia sweep forward, trying to get it straight through the Turkish attackers. Plays now just around the centre line of the pool on the left hand side on the wall. There's a big wall battle going on here between the two teams. And there's a big flick that was sent out sideways, but it's gone onto the Australian bat. Turkey, however, chasing this one down. Turn. And it's barging. It's been called. It's Australian free puck. So again, Australia get an opportunity to get this one back out of their half and try and go out on the attack. So they're sweeping this one. They're going to flick it. Turkey again trying to intercept this, but it's still going with Australia at the second. There's a big squabble in the middle of the pool, but everybody's gone up. Turkey trying to get on the end of this pass. They've succeeded. They've also still got another man down, so Australia are having to go backwards. They're backpedaling. And there's a big blast through there on the right hand side. Turkey still going. That was a very impressive run all the way down the pool there by Turkey. They're trying to sweep this one back along the wall with a big flick. Australia holding it into the corner as best they can, making sure that they can get players down to protect the goal. It was locked out in the corner. So play has been called in Australia's favour. It's an Australian free puck. Again, some great defending there by Australia, coming under, again, pressure from a big Turkish attack flying down the right hand wing. Australia trying to ensure that Turkey don't get the opportunity to do that again, but it's gone past three players, but one Turkish player stays down, drives it down the left hand wall, and it's gone into the middle. Unfortunately for Australia, Turkey just too strong in the end there. A great piece of play. They found a large flick, got it straight onto the Turkish stick, and it bypassed a lot of the Australian defence in the process. So Akin Özkan gets a goal, the first of the second half. So Turkey extend their lead here, 4-1 halfway through the second half. So off the strike, Turkey take a big flick. It lands on the Australian stick, who are trying to send it out to the left hand side. Turkey continue the momentum, however, sweeping the Australian defence backwards. It's proving a little bit slow going here on the wall because they're trying to work out if there's going to be a war of attrition, but they find some space. It's gone back onto an Australian stick. They're trying to get it back onto the wall once again. So it's a good squabble here, but it's going into the corner, and play's been stopped. Australian free puck, and we've got a short referee's timeout. There's a bit of discussion going on here between the referees and the Australian team. So it looks like this is going to be a Turkish free puck, despite some protestations from the Australians. So once again, Australia on the defence. There's a big squabble going on, but again Australia looking to sweep it out. They get it out to the left-hand wall. The Turkish haven't had a lot of success with their free pucks into the Australian half. Australia have had some great spells of defending. Once again, they're trying to swim it into some free space, but Turkey are reading this well. They're sitting on the Australian players in defence, making sure that they don't get an ounce of movement. And the puck's gone out of play, got chipped over the barrier there on the left-hand side. In fact, it's been called as barging, even though the puck went out of play. So, as a result, Turkish free puck once again. So, Turkey reset. Again, they're going to chip this one. Oh, they've actually swum it this time instead of chipping it. They've found that trying to flick it hasn't worked for them, so they're just trying to swim it and power it through. They're down to one Australian defender here, but there's another Turkish player trying to sit on the tin. And this time Turkey have succeeded. Oh, no, it's not been called as a goal. It was just... So it's actually been called as a stick infringement. It's an Australian free puck. So that goal didn't get called in the end. Australia get another chance here to get this one out of their danger zone. Long flick onto an Australian stick who's taken it out to the left-hand wall. They're trying to get it through two Turkish players, which is a big ask. Turkey have some strong players in their team. They are continuing the play, though. They're trying to get down in numbers once again. And Australia, this is a good piece of play here by Australia, sweeping down the right-hand side, trying to get it back onto an Australian stick. They've got a couple of players. Turkey have got three sat down, but Australia keep on the right-hand side. They've flicked underneath the body. It's landed back onto an Australian stick. It was a great piece of play by Australia there. But people thought the play had been stopped, but it hasn't. So everybody went up to the surface. Australia took the initiative. It's been buried into the corner, mind you. So now Turkey have been given the opportunity to try and get this one out of their own corner. And nobody seems to be too bothered to try and do anything about this. It's just going back into the corner. Turkey quite happy to wait till they get an opportunity, like the one they see here. But it's been intercepted by Australia. Good piece of stick work there. It's over onto the right-hand side. Australia looking to see, with numbers down, whether they can power this through, but Turkey are now sitting on the Australian attacker. And it's sat up against the wall. Turkey just waiting patiently. Australia trying to stay down on the bottom, make sure that Turkey can't get out of that corner if they can help it. So you can see that this spell of play is tiring both teams out, because people are just leaving the puck in the corner going up to the surface, and there's nobody there to recycle it. Australia once again on the attack, but it's been punched through by the Turkish. They've got another option. He tries to dummy it past the player. He's not quite succeeded, mind you. That's found a Turkish stick, though. That's a big advance up the pool. Australia looking to ensure that they get this back onto their own stick. This is a great piece of play. Australia now having a big tussle with Turkey. And a big long flick, but it's going nowhere in a hurry. Australia looking to ensure that they can keep the defence. There's a big sweep of play, but it's been stopped. So, discussion here with the referees. It's an Australian free puck. So Australia get another chance here to go on the attack. Long flick. It's met with some resistance. And again the play's been... So some sportsmanlike conduct this time round. And we've got an Australian player out in the sin bin. So Australia have now got more work to do because they've only got 5 players in the water. They're going for 2 in attack, 3 in defence. Obviously anticipating a big rush forward here. We've got a referee's timeout as well. So we've just got under 2 minutes left of this second half. And in fact it's now called as a white team timeout. Chance to regroup for Turkey. This second half has proven a much closer contest than the first. Only 1 goal from the Turkish team. Meanwhile Australia have had some good spells of play, but unfortunately weren't able to convert up to the Turkish tin. And Bailey Anir is out for 2 minutes now, which will see him through to the end of the game. So Australia are going to have to see this match out with 5 people in the pool. So they're going to be needing to do some strong defence here, try and keep this score the same at the very least. So we're going to start the play with a Turkish free puck. Players down on the bottom ready to receive it. It's a big flick and a second one straight off the back of the first, which takes it into the Australian defence on the left hand wall. Turkey continue the momentum. Australia once again trying to keep it in the corner if they can. They're holding it into the corner of the pool. It's a bit of a battle now down the left hand wall. Turkey trying to force their way through the Australian defence. There's a big squabble on the sticks. Turkey are going to get this one. Just too powerful for the Australian defence. Continued attack by the Turkish. And that's another goal for Turkey. So number 1, Firat Karabul, converting for the Turkish team to make it 5-1 to them with 50 seconds remaining. So lining up for the strike. Turkey give a long pass, but it's onto the Australian stick. However, that was read wrongly by the Australian. Turkey on a massive chance here. Big flick. That was misread by the Australian defender. Turkey trying to see if they can flick this one in. Australia trying to chip it back into the corner. Turkey still trying to squabble this one. Bounces around, the puck's bobbling around on the sticks here of the players. Australia seeing if they can hold this one out for another 10 seconds. It's gone into the corner. They're going to try and stay down on the bottom. They're holding it on the Australian stick, and they're going to hold this one out for the remainder by the looks of it, although the referees are going to stop the play with a couple of seconds remaining, although in the end time's run out on the clock. So good spell of play there by Australia. They've had some strong defending, however Turkey were in the end too strong for them. So at the end of the match the scores end up with Turkey 5, Australia 1.